My sweetest love, my heartbeat's quiet home, please hear me now. Not only with your ears, but with that tender listening part of your heart that still believes we were always meant to find each other. Love, darling, isn't always loud symphonies or fireworks painting the night sky. It isn't only sweeping declarations in the pouring rain or poetry that makes the stars jealous. Most days, love is softer. It trembles like morning light on water. It stands before you bare and hopeful, whispering, "Stay, just stay a little longer so you can really see me. If you still hold even a small corner of your heart for me, then listen, my love. Not to the clamor of the world pulling us in every direction, not to the old fears that hiss love is too fragile, too fleeting to trust, not to the doubts that try to convince us we're better off guarded. Listen instead to the gentle way my voice catches and warms every time I speak your name, like it's the only word that ever truly belonged to me. Listen to the beautiful, wordless spaces between us, the ones that feel like coming home after wandering too long. Listen to the simple, unadorned truth I'm laying at your feet right now. No masks, no grand illusions, just me, all of me, hoping you'll receive it. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not demanding forever carved into promises that time can't touch. What I ache for is gentler, yet infinitely deeper. Your steady presence beside me when the days feel ordinary. Your honest eyes meeting mine without looking away. Your quiet courage to keep choosing us, even on the soft, unglamorous mornings when love feels like the smallest, most precious thing in the room. If you love me, truly love me the way I love you, with every quiet breath and every unspoken prayer, then please listen, because these words carry everything I am, every shy hope, every fragile dream, every time I've fallen a little harder for the way you smile when you think no one sees. Every moment I've carried your name like a secret glow inside my chest. Listen, my darling, if you love me, not so you can answer right away, not to explain or defend or fix anything, not even to prepare your own words. Just listen. Let my voice rest inside you. Let it settle like warm sunlight on skin after a long, cold night. Because what I'm about to say doesn't come from pride or anger or any need to be right. It rises from that small, brave place deep in my heart, the one that only opens when it knows this moment might either mend us or quietly shatter what's left. I'm here, vulnerable and whole, loving you in ways words were never quite big enough to hold. And right now, all I need is for you to let this love reach you, to let me reach you. Love isn't just holding hands when the world is soft. It isn't just laughter echoing in warm rooms or kisses that blur the edges of a hard day. Love is also this moment, this fragile, trembling space where I stand in front of you without armor, where I choose honesty over comfort, where I risk being misunderstood just so I can be real with you. If you love me, listen to the pauses in my voice. Listen to what I'm trying to say when I struggle to find the right words. Sometimes I speak in silence. Sometimes I speak in the way my shoulders tense when I'm afraid of losing you. Sometimes I speak in the way I look at you when you're not looking at me. I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to save me. I just need you to hear me. Because being heard is a kind of safety. It's knowing that my heart isn't shouting into an empty room. It's knowing that when I tell you I'm scared, you won't call it weakness. That when I tell you I need you, you won't see it as dependence. That when I tell you I love you, you understand the weight of what I'm offering. Love is not loud. It's not always dramatic. It's in the small things. It's in how we sit together after an argument and choose not to walk away. It's in how we learn each other's scars without trying to erase them. It's in how we stay curious about each other even after we think we know everything. If you love me, listen when I tell you that I'm not perfect. I will get things wrong. I will have days when I'm distant, when my thoughts pull me inward. I will have moments when fear makes me quiet. But none of that means I don't care. None of that means I'm leaving. It means I'm human. It means I'm trying. Listen to the truth beneath my flaws. Listen to the effort. Listen to the fact that I am here, that I choose you. Not because it's easy, not because it's convenient, but because something in me recognizes something in you, something steady, something rare. When I say your name, it isn't just a sound, it's a promise I'm trying to keep. It's a reminder that out of everyone in this world, I saw you and you saw me. That matters. That's not small. In a world full of distractions and noise and endless options, choosing someone is an act of courage. So if you love me, listen when I tell you what hurts. Don't turn away from it. Don't rush to silence it. Pain shared is not a burden. It's an invitation. It's me saying, this is where I'm fragile. This is where I need you to be gentle. And I will be gentle with your fragile places too. I will learn the shape of your fears. I will respect the parts of you that still doubt. Love is meant to last. Listen, when I say I'm afraid of losing you, that fear doesn't mean I don't trust you. It means you matter. It means the thought of a world without you feels colder than I expected. It means I've let you closer than anyone else. And that closeness is beautiful, but it's also terrifying. If you love me, don't just hear my words. Feel them. Understand that every honest sentence costs something. Every vulnerable confession is me stepping closer to you without knowing if you'll step back. I don't want to fight against you. I want to fight for us. And fighting for us starts with listening. Listen when I tell you that sometimes I need reassurance. Not because I doubt your love, but because the world has taught me that good things don't always stay. Tell me you're here. Tell me you're not going anywhere when things get complicated. Let your voice be the place I rest when my thoughts are too loud. And I will listen to you too. I will listen when you're angry, when you're tired, when you're uncertain. I will not reduce you to your worst moments. I will not hold your past against your present. I will sit with you in the dark if that's what you need. Because love isn't about escaping storms. It's about standing in the rain together and deciding it's still worth it. If you love me, listen when I tell you that I don't want perfection. I want truth. I want the messy conversations and the long nights where we untangle misunderstandings. I want the growth that comes from choosing each other again and again. Love is a decision made daily, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Listen to the way my heart softens when you touch my hand. Listen to the way I look at you when you're passionate about something. Listen to the quiet gratitude in me when you stay. These are not accidents. They are pieces of a life I am building with you. I am not asking for control. I am not asking for ownership. I am asking for partnership, for respect, for the kind of connection where we don't weaponize each other's weaknesses, where we don't keep score, where we remember that we are on the same side. If you love me, listen when I say that love requires presence. Put down the distractions. Meet my eyes. Let this moment be enough. Because one day, moments like this will be memories. And I don't want to remember us as two people who almost understood each other. I want to remember us as two people who tried, who stayed, who listened. So please, if you love me, listen when I speak softly. Listen when I speak through tears. Listen when my pride almost keeps me silent, but I choose to talk anyway. Every word is a bridge I'm building toward you. Every confession is a door I'm opening. And all I'm asking you do is step through it with me. To stand here in this quiet, vulnerable space, to let my heart reach yours without interruption, without judgment, without turning away. Love is choosing each other, especially in the difficult moments. Anyone can stay when the days are light and the laughter comes easily. Anyone can say I love you when there's no tension in the air, when the world feels generous and time feels slow. But real love begins when things get uncomfortable, when misunderstandings hang between us, when pride wants to speak louder than patience, when walking away feels easier than staying and trying again. Choosing each other in those moments is not dramatic. It's quiet. It's a decision made in the middle of a heavy silence. It's the pause before a harsh word leaves your mouth. It's the breath you take when you realize you could hurt me, but you don't want to. It's me standing there feeling misunderstood, but deciding I'd rather explain myself again than let distance grow between us. Love isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about how we move through it. It's about remembering that we are not enemies on opposite sides of a battlefield. We are two imperfect people standing on the same side, facing the problem together. The difficult moments don't define us the way we handle them does. There will be days when I'm not easy to love, days when my mood is heavy and my words are slower, days when my paw echoes louder than my present. In those moments, loving me won't feel poetic. It will feel like effort. And I need to know that you'll still choose me then. Not out of obligation, not out of habit, but because even in the mess, you see something worth holding on to. And I promise you the same. There will be times when you doubt yourself, when you're tired, when frustration makes you distant. I won't measure you by your worst hour. I won't reduce you to a single mistake. I will choose to see the whole of you, the strength, the fear, the hope, the flaws. Loving you means choosing you on the days when you forget how to choose yourself. Choosing each other doesn't mean accepting disrespect or ignoring pain. It means confronting those things with honesty instead of escape. It means saying, "This hurt me," instead of pretending it didn't matter. It means listening even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means caring more about understanding than about being right. In difficult moments, pride becomes loud. It tells us to protect ourselves at all costs. It tells us that vulnerability is dangerous. But love asks for something braver. It asks us to soften. When everything in us wants to harden, it asks us to stay. When distance feels safer, it asks us to remember why we started. Even when we're tired, there will be storms, miscommunication, stress from the outside world pressing in on us. The question isn't whether those things will come. They will. The question is whether we will reach for each other when they do. Whether we will sit down and say, "Let's figure this out," instead of "I'm done." Choosing each other means choosing patience over impulse. It means understanding that growth takes time. We are not finished versions of ourselves. We are evolving, learning, unlearning. Sometimes we will stumble. Sometimes we will say the wrong thing. But if we keep choosing each other, those stumbles become lessons instead of endings. Love in the difficult moments is not glamour. It looks like long conversations when we'd rather sleep. It looks like apologies that are sincere and specific. It looks like accountability. It looks like compromise without resentment. It looks like holding hands even when there are still tears in our eyes. There's a kind of strength in that, a quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need an audience, the kind that doesn't post its victories. It just endures. It just shows up again and again when the world feels overwhelming, when responsibilities pile up and exhaustion makes us short-tempered. Choosing each other might mean something small, a gentle tone instead of a sharp one, a hug before continuing an argument, a reminder that we are partners, not opponents. Those small choices build something unbreakable over time. Love is not proven in perfect moments. It's proven in repair, in the willingness to say, "I was wrong," in the humility to admit, "I didn't understand you," in the courage to ask, "Can we try again?" Difficult moments are not signs that love is failing. Sometimes they are proof that it's real enough to be tested. I don't expect us to be flawless. I don't expect us to never disagree. What I hope for is resilience, the kind that says this matters too much to give up on easily, the kind that recognizes that leaving is simple, but staying and growing requires heart. Choosing each other also means protecting what we have, not speaking carelessly about our relationship to others, not letting temporary anger become permanent damage, not inviting comparison where gratitude should be. It means guarding the connection we've built like something rare. Because it is, there will be moments when doubt creeps in, when fear whispers that maybe this is too hard in those moments. Choosing each other means remembering that difficulty is not the opposite of love. Indifference is, as long as we care enough to fight for understanding, there is hope. I want a love that doesn't collapse under pressure. I want a love that bends, adjusts, learns. A love that says we can get through this and then proves it with action. Not once, not twice, but consistently. Because one day we'll look back at the hard seasons, the nights we stayed up talking, the days we almost let frustration win. And if we've chosen each other enough times, those memories won't be scars. They'll be evidence, evidence that what we built wasn't fragile, it was forged. Choosing each other in difficult moments means seeing beyond the present discomfort. It means believing that the person standing in front of you is more important than the argument happening between you. It means trusting that what we have is deeper than temporary emotion. I don't want a love that only survives in comfort. I want a love that becomes stronger in challenge. A love that understands that the hard days are not interruptions of the story. They are part of it. They shape us. They teach us how to love better, listen better, be better. So when things get hard, I won't run. I won't shut down without trying. I will stay. I will speak. I will listen. I will choose you. Not because it's always easy, not because it's always clear, but because you matter to me more than my pride, more than my fear, more than the temporary relief of giving up. And I hope that when I am difficult, when I am flawed, when I am struggling to communicate, you will choose me too. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, but sincerely, with effort, with intention, with the quiet strength that real love requires when the world isn't gentle and emotions aren't simple and the path forward isn't obvious, but the connection between us is still worth holding on to. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is trust in its purest form. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It stands quietly, unguarded, and says, "This is me." No armor, no performance, no carefully edited version designed to impress, just truth. The world teaches us to protect ourselves, to hide what hurts, to mask what we fear might be rejected. We learn to be strong in ways that look solid from the outside. We build walls that feel like safety. We convince ourselves that if no one sees the fragile parts, no one can break them. But love doesn't grow behind walls, as it grows in open spaces. When I choose to be vulnerable with you, I'm not surrendering my strength. I'm offering you my trust. I'm saying that I believe you will handle my heart with care, that I believe you won't use my honesty against me, that I believe you see my openness as courage, not as something to control. Vulnerability is telling you when I'm afraid. It's admitting that I don't always feel confident. It's confessing that sometimes I overthink your silence, that sometimes I need reassurance even when I wish I didn't. It's letting you see the parts of me that aren't polished. There's nothing weak about that. Weakness is pretending. Weakness is hiding behind indifference because it feels safer than caring deeply. Vulnerability takes strength because it risks rejection. It risks being misunderstood. It risks standing there exposed and hoping the other person steps closer instead of stepping back. When I tell you that something you said hurt me, that's vulnerability. I could stay quiet. I could build resentment and silence. That would be easier. But instead, I choose honesty. I choose to give you the opportunity to understand me. That choice is trust. Vulnerability is also letting you see my joy, letting you see how much you matter to me, admitting that you've become important in my life, that losing you would hurt, that your presence makes my world softer. Saying those things out loud means you have the power to affect me, and offering someone that kind of power is not weakness, it's faith. Trust is not built in perfect moments. It's built in honest ones. When I open up about my past, about the disappointments, the mistakes, the scars, I'm not asking you to fix them. I'm letting you see the road that shaped me. I'm trusting that you won't judge me solely by where I stumbled. And I want you to be vulnerable with me too. Not because I need to see your pain, but because I want to know you fully. Strength isn't pretending you don't have fears. Strength is admitting you do and choosing to love anyway. Let me see the parts of you that you hide from the world. Let me understand what keeps you awake at night. Let me be someone you don't have to perform for. In a relationship, vulnerability becomes a bridge. Each confession, each honest conversation lays another plank. Slowly, carefully, we build something that can carry weight. But if one of us refuses to step onto that bridge, it remains unfinished. Love cannot survive on surface-level connection alone. It needs depth. It needs risk. Sometimes vulnerability is quiet. It's in the way you reach for my hand during a difficult conversation. It's in the way you admit you were wrong. It's in the way you say, "I don't know how to fix this, but I don't want to lose you." Those moments hold more strength than any display of dominance ever could. Being vulnerable means accepting that we cannot control the outcome. I can tell you how I feel, but I cannot control how you respond. That uncertainty is terrifying. But love requires stepping into it anyway. It requires believing that what we share is strong enough to hold honesty. If I hide my feelings to appear strong, I create distance. You may see a calm surface, but underneath, there will be unspoken fears, unmet needs, unanswered questions. Vulnerability prevents that distance. It clears the air. It makes room for real understanding. There is something powerful about looking into someone's eyes and telling the truth. Even when your voice shakes, even when you're unsure how it will land, that shaking voice is not weakness. It's proof that what you're saying matters. Vulnerability also means forgiving yourself, accepting that you are a work in progress, allowing yourself to be seen as imperfect. When I admit I don't have all the answers, I'm not diminishing myself. I'm acknowledging reality, and in that honesty, there is freedom. Trust grows when vulnerability is met with kindness. When I open up and you listen instead of dismissing me, when you hold my fears gently instead of minimizing them, that response deepens everything. It tells me that my openness was not misplaced. But vulnerability must go both ways. If only one of us risks honesty, the balance tilts. Real connection happens when we both step forward, when we both say, "Here is my heart." Handle it carefully, not as a demand, not as a threat, but as a shared responsibility and love. Test moments are often the softest: a whispered apology, a tear that isn't hidden, a quiet admission of need. These are not signs of fragility in the relationship. They are signs that it's alive. Vulnerability is not dramatic. It's steady. It's consistent honesty. It's choosing to communicate instead of withdraw. It's refusing to let ego build walls where understanding could build doors. The world may reward detachment. It may praise those who seem unaffected. But love rewards courage. The courage to care deeply. The courage to say you matter to me. The courage to risk being hurt because the connection is worth it. When I am vulnerable with you, I am not placing a burden on you. I am inviting you closer. I am saying that I don't want to love you halfway. I don't want to give you a filtered version of myself. I want you to know me fully, honestly. And knowing someone fully means seeing their contradictions, their past regrets, their present doubts, their future hopes. Accepting that they are human, that they will falter, that they will sometimes struggle to articulate what they feel. Vulnerability gives us space to grow together. If I can admit my fears, we can face them side by side. If you can admit your insecurities, I can reassure you with sincerity. Without vulnerability, those fears stay hidden, and hidden fears quietly shape behavior. There is strength in softness, strength in choosing empathy over defense, strength in lowering your guard and trusting that the person in front of you values what you're offering. I don't want a love built on image. I want a love built on truth. And truth requires vulnerability. It requires moments of uncertainty. It requires conversations that feel uncomfortable but lead to clarity. When I say vulnerability is trust in its purest form, I mean that it strips away everything unnecessary. No games, no manipulation, no pretending not to care. Just two people willing to risk honesty because what they share is too important for masks. If you love me, understand that when I open up, I am giving you something precious. And when you open up, I will treat your honesty with the same care. I will not mock your fears. I will not dismiss your feelings. I will respect the courage it took for you to speak. Because in the end, vulnerability is what turns affection into intimacy. It's what transforms attraction into connection. It's what makes love more than just words. It's standing in front of someone without armor and realizing that the bravest thing you can do is stay open, stay honest, stay present. Even when your heart is exposed and your voice is unsteady, and the only thing holding you there is the quiet belief that trust is stronger than fear. Real connection begins where pride ends. Pride is loud. It wants to be right. It wants to win. It wants the last word in every argument and the upper hand in every disagreement. It protects the ego like a shield, convincing us that vulnerability is defeat and company and promises surrender. But love doesn't grow in the space where pride dominates. It grows in the space where two people decide that understanding matters more than victory. Pride tells you to cross your arms and look away. Connection asks you to sit down and talk. Pride tells you not to apologize first. Connection reminds you that being first to say "I'm sorry" doesn't make you smaller. It makes the relationship stronger. Pride keeps score. Connection throws the scoreboard away. When pride is in control, every conflict becomes a competition. Who hurt who more? Who started it? Who deserves the apology? But real connection shifts the focus. It asks, what are we trying to protect here? Our egos or our bond? Because if the goal is love, then winning an argument at the cost of closeness is not a win at all. Ending pride doesn't mean losing self-respect. It means choosing humility over stubbornness. It means recognizing that sometimes your perspective isn't the only valid one. It means lowering space for the possibility that you misunderstood, that you reacted too quickly, that you let emotion speak before compassion had a chance. There is strength in saying, "Help me understand." Those three words can dissolve walls that pride builds brick by brick. They open the door to empathy. They signal that you care more about clarity than control. Real connection thrives in that openness. Sometimes pride shows up as silence, as withdrawal, as cold distance meant to prove a point. But silence used as a weapon creates emptiness, not intimacy. Real connection requires presence. It requires stepping back into the conversation, even when it feels uncomfortable. It requires choosing dialogue over distance. When pride fades, listening becomes easier. You're no longer preparing your defense while the other person speaks. You're actually hearing them. You're noticing the emotion behind their words. You're understanding that their frustration may be rooted in hurt, not hostility. That shift changes everything. Connection is not about always agreeing. It's about respecting each other enough to disagree, without tearing each other down. Pride pushes us to react. Connection invites us to respond. There's a difference. Reaction is immediate and often sharp. Response is thoughtful and grounded. Letting go of pride also means admitting when you're afraid. Pride hides fear behind anger. It masks insecurity with arrogance. But when you strip that away, you might discover that what you're really feeling is vulnerability. And vulnerability, when expressed honestly, brings people closer. Real connection asks for accountability, not blame, not shame. Accountability is saying, "I see how my actions affected you." It's not about self-criticism, it's about responsibility. Pride resists that because it feels like exposure. But in truth, accountability builds trust. It shows maturity. It shows care. In love, pride can be subtle. It can disguise itself as independence, as the refusal to ask for help, as the insistence that you don't need reassurance. But connection deepens when we allow ourselves to need each other, not in a way that weakens us, but in a way that strengthens the bond. There will be moments when you feel misunderstood, when your immediate instinct is to defend yourself. In those moments, ending pride might look like asking a question instead of making an accusation. It might look like taking a breath before speaking. It might look like admitting that your tone was harsher than you intended. Connection is built in those small choices, not in grand declarations, but in daily decisions to approach each other with softness instead of sharpness. It's choosing to lower your voice instead of raising it, choosing to reach for a hand instead of turning your back. Pride isolates. It convinces you that standing alone is strength, but real strength in a relationship is interdependence. It's knowing you can stand on your own, but choosing to stand together. It's understanding that unity doesn't erase individuality, it enhances it. When pride ends, empathy begins. You start to see the person in front of you not as an opponent, but as someone carrying their own history, their own wounds, their own fears. You realize that their reaction may have less to do with you and more to do with something deeper. That awareness creates compassion. Real connection also requires forgiveness. Pride holds on to grudges like trophies. It replays old arguments to justify present anger. But forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about freeing the relationship from constant punishment. It's about deciding that growth matters more than resentment. Letting go of pride doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means addressing it calmly instead of retaliating. It means setting boundaries without hostility. It means speaking truth without cruelty. Pride often pushes us toward extremes. Connection finds balance. There's something powerful about two people who can argue trying to destroy each other, who can disagree without questioning the entire foundation of their love. That kind of stability doesn't happen by accident. It happens when pride is kept in check and mutual respect leads. Connection deepens when both people are willing to bend, not to break, not to lose themselves, but to adjust, to compromise, to recognize that a relationship is not about rigid positions, but about shared movement. When pride ends, gratitude grows. You start noticing what your partner does right instead of focusing only on what went wrong. You appreciate effort. You acknowledge growth. You stop searching for faults and start reinforcing strengths. Real connection is not dramatic. It's steady. It's built on countless moments where pride could have taken over but didn't, where love was chosen instead, where humility replaced stubbornness. It's in the quiet apology after a long day, in the willingness to revisit a difficult conversation without sarcasm or blame, in the courage to say, I care about this too much to let my ego ruin it. Ending pride requires self-awareness. It requires noticing your triggers and owning them. It requires recognizing when your reaction is about protecting your image rather than protecting the relationship. That kind of awareness isn't easy, but it's necessary. Connection flourishes in environments where both people feel safe. Safe to express, safe to admit mistakes, safe to grow. Pride disrupts that safety because it turns vulnerability into risk. But when pride steps aside, safety returns. In the end, love was never meant to be a contest of strength or control. It is not about who leads and who follows or who bends first when things get difficult. Real love is a partnership. It is two people choosing each other over and over again, not only in the easy, laughter-filled days, but also in the quiet, uncomfortable moments when misunderstandings linger and emotions run high. That choice, the simple act of saying I am still here with you, becomes lighter and more natural when pride no longer sets the rules. A true connection does not grow in the shadow of ego. It begins to breathe when we stop trying to prove a point and start trying to understand a heart. When we care more about protecting the bond we share than protecting our own image. Love softens us in ways the world often tells us to resist, yet those softened places are exactly where intimacy lives. They are where we learn each other's fears, hopes, and hidden wounds, and decide to handle them with care instead of defense. Love is not a battlefield where someone must win and someone must lose. It is a space we build together, a place of shelter, warmth, and patience. In that space, being right matters less than being kind. Winning an argument feels small compared to holding the person you love and knowing the connection between you is still safe. There is a quiet strength in choosing closeness over victory, in choosing a gentle tone when a sharp one would be easier. It often begins with a small but powerful decision. The decision that being close is more important than being correct. That listening with an open heart carries more value than delivering the perfect comeback. That saying, help me understand, can heal more than saying, I told you so. These moments may seem simple, but they are where love deepens. They are where two people show each other that the relationship itself is more important than their individual pride. Humility in love is not humiliation. It is not weakness. It is an offering of peace. It is the courage to lower your defenses and say, you matter to me more than my need to stand tall. When both people can do this, even imperfectly, something beautiful happens. Walls come down, voices soften, hands reach across emotional distance instead of building more of it. The strongest relationships are not the ones without disagreement or tension. They are the ones where, in the middle of those storms, pride steps aside long enough for two hearts to meet without armor, where apologies are not seen as defeat but as bridges, where vulnerability is not used as a weapon but treasured as a gift. In those relationships, love becomes a safe place to land, not a place where you have to constantly defend your worth. And maybe that is what love truly is. Not perfection, not constant harmony, but two people who care enough to keep choosing understanding over ego, tenderness over control, and togetherness over the need to be right. When that happens, love stops feeling like a struggle for power and starts feeling like what it was always meant to be, a shared home for two hearts, built gently, protected daily, and filled with grace.